Check it out, just take a chance. It's time for CeleryPants. Welcome back. So today is day 4 of our prop week, and today is the day that's kind of the anomaly. I'm waiting on a delivery for what will be day 5. Otherwise, I would have done it today. So that's why today's an anomaly, and it's not going to fit in the theme of paper, books, posters, etc. Today, what we're doing for our prop week is we're going to make some fake teeth. Not like dentures or veneers or anything like that, but we're going to make like an individual tooth. And then you'll be able to bite down on it and then break it open, and it'll release cyanide and then have a foaming at the mouth effect like in the movie Mission Impossible. I don't know which one. I don't watch the Mission Impossible movies. But anyway, I saw Scott Reeder from Scott Prop and Roll did this, and it looked like fun. So I want to try it myself. So that's what we're doing today. And I think I'm going to try to do not only with gum paste, but he also did a similar one with white chocolate. So depending on how much white chocolate I have, I may also try to do white chocolate too. Anyway, let's get started. First, we're going to make a mold of some teeth with some gum paste. So let's make our molds. Check it out. So the items we're going to be using today are these teeth. It's like a dental set made from resin. Sometimes they're called Kilgore teeth, like Kilgore. But these are, you can find a lot of these online. See, it's just like a set of resin teeth. They're not very expensive. You might be surprised. Are you kidding? I can get fake teeth for, I don't know what it cost. Like, I think it was literally less than $20, maybe like even less than 10 possibly. Anyway, there they are, resin teeth. We're using those to make our mold, and then this is what we're going to be molding with. Silicone putty, 2-part. It's a 1-to-1. You just mix the blue and the white putties together in an equal amounts based off of what you need. And then I think it dries pretty quickly, so that we can make our mold. We're going to make 2 different types. I'm going to try to do maybe one where I just press them into the putty. It's like a 1-part mold where it just does half of it. And then I'm also going to try to do a 2-part mold and see how that turns out. So let me get some stuff together and we'll see how it goes. Let's do this premolar on the bottom, and then let's do this molar over here on the top. Yeah. All right, those are our teeth. Now let's mold our putty. So here we go, 1-to-1. We're gonna mix these together real good. That'll activate it. We're just gonna kind of make a little patty or whatever you want to call it. And then we're gonna push this guy in here so that the whole thing is encapsulated. And for this one, shouldn't have stuck it onto the cardboard apparently. We're gonna mold half right now, and then we're gonna mold the other half in a second. So I made a couple of molds here. Sorry, as a noob, I was getting a little overwhelmed. But this one I'm gonna try to use as my 1-part mold. And this is I'm gonna try to use as my 2-part mold. And then this one's probably gonna be essentially another 1-part mold. I just made it, pushed the tooth in. I actually ended up covering the tooth in some Vaseline because I'm a little concerned I won't be able to get it out. Same thing here, except this one I just pushed it in halfway. This part, I don't think you have to see, but this one I'm just gonna try to do the whole thing. This, it's, the tooth is basically sitting like this on there, and then I just stuck it down on top of it. And again, I used Vaseline because I have no idea if this is even gonna come out. It seems like it would be really difficult to pick out of there once this hardens. But those are all cooking. I was just sitting here thinking, I got all these teeth. I might as well use them all. So I think I'm gonna mix up a bunch more and just see how many I can make and see how they turn out. Because I feel like some of these will probably crack when I make them or just not turn out right. So let's increase our chances by making as many as we can. So I'm just making more molds. As you can see, I just keep trying it a little different. Different ones that I'll try for 2-part, 1-part, use Vaseline, don't use Vaseline, put the tooth in a different orientation. It's definitely something that takes a little practice, I think. You got to get the clay up to like a 90-degree angle on the piece you're trying to mold. Otherwise, it's not going to turn out right. I'm going to try to do a bunch of teeth in this piece I'm making right now. It's a bigger piece, so I gotta keep mixing it. Okay, mixed a little better now. All right, let's try and make it a little square, make it a little flatter. Put it down here. See how many teeth we can get into this. It doesn't have to be that tall. Give us a little more room here. Probably something like that. Okay. Now for these ones, I think I'm just gonna try to go back to the Vaseline and Vaseline up a bunch of these. I think I'm gonna put all these ones in like, I think just top down. The tooth part first. Get them in there, and then I'll try to work the clay around it once I take off my gloves and get a few of them in there. Try not to shove my finger in either. That one I'm gonna have to pull the clay up around it. Putty clay. Maybe I can just use this hole for that one. I don't see a lot of use in doing any of the any point in using any of the incisor teeth. So I'll probably just stop after I get all these molars and premolars in. All right, this will be the last one, I think. I like one more. This is gonna be the last one, promise. Okay, let me take off these gloves. And I need to adjust the putty a little bit. Put on different gloves. I don't think that you have to wear gloves, but stuff is like kind of greasy and stuff, and everybody that I saw using it who knew more about it than I did was wearing gloves, so it seemed like the right thing to do. All right, we don't need these. Let's scoot this over here so I can see it better. We'll bring you too. All right, I'm just gonna use this old chopstick here to kind of pull the clay up. Around the tooth more. Some of the, like this part needs to be covered. That's why some of these, it would have been better to kind of put them on their sides. This is what I meant before about 90 degree. It's like I'm trying to get that interface. I'm not really trying to tamp down the clay as much as I'm trying to move it so that the interface between the putty and the tooth is like 90 degrees. It's not like this rounded kind of thing. I wonder if I can just, honestly, just like kind of steal some. Oops, I bumped you. Don't really want to like trap it in there, but I want it to all be covered. And I got a bunch of them, so if they get trapped in there, they get trapped in there. Like they said in Rocky, Drago says in Rocky, if he dies, he dies. Yeah, that's like a 2.5 part mold. I can maybe scooch it out this way. Don't mind the noises outside. Everything's fine. We're just making teeth. This one's totally buried. I'll never get that one out. I gotta uncover it a little bit here. All right. Let's, no, that one's not good at all right there. Gotta get that a little better. Get that up there. We don't want those rounded corners. All right, anyway, let's set our timer, give it 20 minutes and we'll check on all these. And then take this piece, it's a square, I'm gonna put it right on top there. Give it a good pat. I want it to be well formed. Timer's going so we can try to demold some of these other ones. So let's see how this goes. It's definitely hard. I feel like I'm gonna end up tearing this mold to get this guy out of here. Oh, look at that, pop right out. Well, that's good. So we'll try to just push something in there and see if we get anything good. Let's check out this guy over here. Move it into the view here. Can move this a little bit. Yeah, the Vaseline was a good idea. Now I'm gonna wanna clean these obviously before I put any sort of food item in them. But I would have wanted to do that anyway. Yeah, the Vaseline really makes it easy to demold. I think it would have been pretty difficult if I didn't do that. Change locations, now we're in the kitchen. We're gonna separate our mold. Yeah, that's okay. Tooth comes right out. So you just gotta remember how the orientation is. It just goes like that. And then this one. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna wash these up and then we'll start putting stuff in them. So I got all my molds clean, cleaned off the Vaseline, which really, you don't have to even do that part. You could technically eat Vaseline. It's not, most people would be grossed out by that, but I need to cover my molds now in like olive oil so that there's something edible to prevent it from sticking. And then I'm gonna use this gum paste. I'm gonna stick it in my molds. All right, now my mold is sufficiently clean. I have some gum paste here. I have never worked with gum paste before, so I had no idea what I was in for, but I guess what I'm gonna do is just try to get like a tooth size amount and just shove it into these molds and see what comes out. So let's start with this one. May want actually a little more for that one. I can always maybe trim the back once I get it out. Get it in there also, it goes all the way to the bottom. Hopefully I'll be able to get that out. I'll leave that one for chocolate. What do you think? Should I do this other one here with gum paste? Let's do this a little bit here. Stuff that in there. Like a tooth amount. Now, one thing I noticed looking at my references, sometimes when you buy these sets of Kilgore teeth, they'll have roots on them. These ones that I bought this time, especially since they were probably one of the cheaper ones, did not have roots. And so if they have roots on the teeth, number one, they look more realistic. You may have to paint the roots, but they'll, like I said, they'll look more realistic. And then two, it gives you something to grab hold of, which might make it easier to get the tooth out when you're done. Trying to work this little bit in here. We have our white chocolate here out of the microwave, which don't go crazy, just do a little odd time. I burned the first batch, so learn from me. Trying to suck some chocolate up into this syringe. This doesn't work like normal liquids. I can't really get the air bubble out, so let's just go for it, right? Let's just send it, as they say. All right. Oh, see, there's air in it. I don't think I can get that air out. Nope. I think I'm gonna have to just do my best. I think all the air is out at this point. And this one, this is the one where I really needed to cut that little slit in it. It would basically go, there'd be a half of a circle basically, or half of a cylinder going from the tooth to the outside, and then the same thing over here, so that I could close the mold and fill it. And this way I'm just gonna just kind of slap it over the top and hope it lines up. Kind of like that. Well, hopefully that turns out okay. I'm gonna use this syringe and squirt the rest of this hot chocolate into my mouth, so I'll talk to you in a second. I've set aside my gum paste and chocolate to dry here. I can't put it in the freezer to speed up the chocolate because that'll slow the gum paste, and I can't heat it a little bit to speed up the gum paste because that'll slow the chocolate. So we're just gonna leave it at room temperature here to dry. Ideally, gum paste can take up to like 24 to 48 hours to dry, but we don't have that much time, so we're just gonna give it a few hours. In the meantime, I'm going to work on the foaming at the mouth part and for the cyanide capsule. And in order to do that, we need sherbet powder and some sort of like clear soda like Sprite. Now, as far as the sherbet powder, supposedly you can buy sherbet powder, but I had no luck finding sherbet powder anywhere, on Amazon, at a grocery store, anywhere online. All I could find was a recipe to make it. So a basic recipe to make sherbet powder involves these three things in 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon in quantity. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Let's make ourselves some sherbet powder. All right, so this first one, as you can see, this is citric acid. We need a teaspoon. So that's about a teaspoon. The next one is baking soda. Again, we need a teaspoon. All right, that's about good. Don't mind this, I'll clean it up later. And then 3 tablespoons. I think that's probably just for flavor. Otherwise, I doubt this has any chemical effect. And this appears to basically just be powdered sugar. So I don't know that there's any difference between icing sugar and powdered sugar, but if anybody knows, you can let everybody know in the comments. All right, the other one was a little short, so that one will be a little full. So those are our ingredients. They're dry ingredients. Let's stir them up. You don't really need all of this. All right, so I have these Sprite teas, which we do not enjoy. Maybe you would, but we don't. I think it's because you want to use a clear soda so that it doesn't change the look of it. And this is what I have. I don't have Sprite. I have Sprite tea, so I don't think it's brown. Maybe it is. Anyway, I'm going to try this out and see how it works. And then you'll see at the end of the video. Okay, now the chocolate has dried and the gum paste has not, but I'm impatient, so let's go ahead and take everything out. First, we'll try to take out the chocolate without cracking or breaking it. I don't need the mold anymore, so I can just do whatever I gotta do to get this thing out of here. All right, that's kind of okay. Let's see what this gum paste one does. That one's okay, but I obviously got to trim the bottom. So there we go. Let me wash my hands and maybe clean some of these up. And then we will carry on with the rest with the actual scene. So I've cleaned up some of the teeth. Here's the ones that I left the trim on, and then here's the ones I cleaned up. I think actually the gum paste ones were a little better than the chocolate ones in this case. Chocolate ones, even though they were hard when I started, just a little bit of manipulating by cutting them with the knife was just enough to start to make them melt again. But I think the gum paste ones, if I let them sit for their cure time, would turn out to be just right. The big thing though, that really with all of these is, in hindsight, I should get the teeth that have the roots on them, like the actual Kilgore teeth or something like that. I think that those would give tooth a little bit more. These kind of could give watered up bubble gum, but I mean, that one right there, that really looks like a tooth. You can see the indentations and ridges in it, as well as that one. Some of them look all right, so it was okay. All right, let's get to the scene. Okay, so seriously, for the next part, there is a trigger warning. I'm going to be foaming at the mouth in the setting of pretending to take a cyanide tablet. I want to make it clear that suicidal attempts and having a seizure are not funny. Also, if you think it might be gross to just watch foam coming out of my mouth, then you don't want to watch the next part. I'm only doing this to portray what's portrayed in the scene. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try to hide the fact that I changed my shirt, that I filmed the ending before the beginning. Pretend like you don't notice that. Wow, that was great. Academy Award for the whole crew. Anyway, so I would recommend, if you're going to do something like this, get the teeth with the roots on them. Actually, the real Kilgore teeth are just whatever resin teeth that have the longer like tooth roots on them. If you're going to use a 2-part mold, I would recommend doing it the right way. The incorrect way did not seem to work out very well for me. And then, yeah, I would probably not use me as the filmographer / director / actor. There was obviously inconsistencies, and yeah, it wasn't the best. But overall, I'd give myself a C. I think I passed. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you for watching. Hope everybody's doing okay. Have a great day. Okay, bye.